Obedience to authority. Obedience to authority is the tendency people have to try to please those in charge. It is natural for children to wish to please parents, teachers, and coaches. Even adults generally feel good about pleasing authority figures.
I feel like in practice I was always trying to get my coach to notice me or be good job on this workout or think that I was doing well.
From the very first time athletes step onto a court or a field or a pitch, it's drilled into them that they must always follow their coach's instructions. When athletes do as coaches instruct, individual and team chances for success generally increase. But what if a coach asks a player to intentionally injure a player on another team, or to cheat on an exam to remain eligible to play, or to take illegal performance-enhancing drugs? We all tend to believe that because we are good people, we would never do such a thing. But athletes, like everyone else, have been socialized to obey authority.
We all look up to our coach over everything pretty much. As a team, we're all sisters, but our coach is our boss.
Our coach is 81 years old, and he's known as the greatest swim coach ever, and so a lot of people's motivation on the team is just to please him.
You're going to respect your boss pretty much over everything, and you're going to do what they tell you to do because that's how you keep your position. That's how you keep your job.
Athletes especially have a self-serving incentive to follow their coach's instructions. Obeying a coach's orders often translates into more playing time and more perks. Disobeying orders often means less of those good things. So it's easy to rationalize doing as we're told, to think, it's not my fault, the coach told me to do it. And players are supposed to do what their coaches say, right?
When I was in high school, my coach wanted to put together a lightweight 8, which means all the girls have to be under 140 or 130, somewhere around there. And there was a girl who was about my height, maybe a little bit shorter, and she didn't eat for days before the race, and she was throwing up beforehand and putting herself at risk in order to please my coach.
I ended up pulling all of my intercostal muscles, so the muscles in between my ribs. I was told by medical professionals to take full rest, but my coach was telling me otherwise and that I needed to compete for the team and for the sake of everyone doing better at the meet. I ended up being out for almost 2 months after that because I couldn't breathe and couldn't really feel much, so I ended up being out for a lot longer than I needed to.
Research shows that when we make decisions, we are often more concerned about the acceptability of the decision to the people we're accountable to than we are about the moral content of the decision itself. Sometimes we are so intent upon pleasing those in charge that we do not even notice the moral aspects of the decision itself. The ethical dimensions simply fade away, which is why the obedience to authority phenomenon should worry us all.
I lived with a guy this summer, and he's from China, and he left his country because they kind of forced everyone over there to take drugs to help them be faster, and if you didn't do that, you couldn't swim with them. They know they're doping, but they think it's okay because they're obeying authority.
So, our innate desire to please those in charge, combined with our tendency to defer to authority, can cloud our ethical judgment when the time comes to act. While it's usually a fine thing for athletes to please their coaches, students to please their teachers, and employees to please their bosses, keeping an eye out for ethical issues is a must. And it is never wise to defer so completely to those in charge that we ignore our own moral standards.
I'm recovering from an injury, and my coach really wanted me back, but I understood that in order to have a successful career, during indoor and outdoor season, and throughout the next 4 years, I need to learn to say no.
You have to have your non-negotiables, and if that gets compromised, then I guess you have to depart.
Always stand up for what you believe in, as opposed to just what anybody's telling you.
I would say I think the biggest way to combat this is by setting healthy boundaries. It's something I've been learning about a lot since my time in college. Learning when to put yourself first and when to choose yourself over others, whether it's teammates or an authority figure, has been really helpful for me.